friends frequently stake cash-making ideas above a few drinks in a public house, but it is not frequently how the schema in issue ends up creation a trillion LB industry. But how is eventually which happened following Samir Desai at first debated his big sight in two old college counterparts while they met up for a few pints in a bar in centre London in 2009. At the period the UK and the otherwise of the planet were yet mired in the vortex of the world finance meltdown. As a outcome, banks had stopped credit to little business community. The position looked desperate for little firms, but Samir, later a 26-year-old control advisor, had go up in which he mind was a nice concept. He requested to shoot the banks of the equalization, and instead of enable the companies to more than readily adopt cash of in another place. Particularly he requested to build an on the internet market wherever little firms could use to adopt cash of a swimming pool of cash given by individuals and some business community, equal to equal credit. Samir's friends of his Oxford College days, James Meekings and Andrew Mullinger, both of coordinated how it was potential a large concept for a industry, so the three of them solved to study its practicability. In August 2010 they abandoned their jobs and start up financing round. Samir, now 35, says he came up in the concept for the business since though up the finance meltdown little industry credit was cute break. It took 15 to 20 weeks to get a lending of a banking, he says. Or I came to understand how in fact just a really little portion of which a banking does is little industry credit. It can be as low as just 5%, yet little business community are rather a big transactions to community, they use 60% of the individual sector labor, so down there's a big separate on how lot banks thoroughness on credit, and how lot community cares. To get London-based financing round up and fleeing, the three friends put £60,000 of their combination saving in the industry. James had as well previous been a control advisor, time Andrew had treated in hazard control. The three friends as well grown £700,000 of a half a dozen investors consisting friends and friends of friends. The cash switched them to construct the Technique plate over the website, and to later marketplace and start the industry. Yet, persuading both of the lenders and little firms to go on executive board proven facility. It was exciting in the previous days, says Samir. It was love the chick and the egg, that comes at first, the industry or the depositor. To draw previous investors the business proposed them a cashback transactions, whereby if the cash they were credit via the website was due to pay them 7% concern, financing round would growth the to 9%, and pay the investors the sum 2% of its own cash. To profit little industry customers, Samir and his company founders would email out letters. So how he says they ended up break the printing device they had adopted of James's daddy. Customer numbers on both of sides later begun to slow increase, and in 2011 financing round provided £1 in enterprise equity financing. The later rose to £250 meter, preliminary to the monthly's flotation. More than rather than 50,000 little business community and 80,000 investors include now utilized the business, that advanced to the US in 2013, and Germany and the Netherlands 2 years after. The industry makes its cash by charge the borrowers a fee of among 1% and 7% per lending, advantage a 1% yearly maintenance royalties. It hasn't done a income yet although, but Samir says how the is intentional, since the business has been putting hard in extension. This industry continues to increase quickly, he says. Of our prospect we wish to be the at first selection for little business community globally. The business did no, yet, reveal any new circulation or income and losing figures. Instead of, the largest newly accessible show how it had yearly rental income of £1 in 2017, up of £1 in 2016. Meantime, the before-tax losses in 2017 totaled £1, compared in £1 a year over. The business's stake cost as well remnant under the standard at that it floated on October 3. Laith Caliph, a elder analysis at finance services team Hargreaves Lansdowne, says how financing round is potential to person challenges in the next This equal-to-equal credit segment is comparatively new and few companies during it include been via a harsh economical downturn, that tool down there is a high standard of ambiguity on how these business community will travel expenses in hard marketplace facility. This hazard is how in a impoverished economical environmental borrowers failure on their loans in big numbers, and the will put the letter of credit and hazard mitigating methods during credit platforms to the testing. The controller, the Finance Hold Credibility, FCA, is examining guideline changes how would just enable really rich private investors to use financing round and its rivals in the next. The FCA's anxiety is how an depositor's equity is potential at hazard. Samir, who has the head execution job name, remnant sure, yet, in the ongoing increase of the industry. We're receive more than reiterate customers, he says. Investors are rather agitated on the marketplace amount increase rates, top margins and the scope of reiterate customers.